the Healthy Habits second group. And I'm excited to hear from you guys. I'm interested to see, how things are going. Take advantage of those surveys that I sent out this past week. I've been able to get some information from some of you to see what are your goals? Are you meeting your goals? And then also just checking in with your weight. So sending a weekly weight to me, especially if that's what you need that accountability check-in to see, let me know, are you losing weight? If you want to lose weight, or if you're not, we always kind of workshop that. Okay. So make sure you're signing in today too. Another really important thing is to make sure you're logging your attendance for all of your activities on that Wellsuite portal. We're going to talk about that too today. All right, so here is the presentation today. All right.
So let's see. It sounds like the sound might not be very good today. Let's see if we can get that better before we keep going here. Okay, it sounds like it's better now. Okay, great. All right, thanks there, Columbus. Perfect. All right. Our second class here. So any questions? So just a review from last time too. If you're interested in toward the end, and I'm going to have a couple of questions throughout the talk today. If you want to answer the questions, you can do that little raise hand there on the console. And you raise your hand, and I'll be able to unmute you, and you'd be able to ask a question. And you can also type that in on the console too under the questions area. I'd love to hear your voices. We might practice that today. Able to see you raising your hand. It looks like Garner is raising their hand, so that's great. So let's actually practice that there. Garner, I'm going to unmute you if I can. You bear with me here. All right, Garner, can you hear us? Me?
Yes, Jackie, the sound was corrected. I was just raising my hand to tell you about the sound, but it sounds good now.
Okay, great. All right, so that's perfect. All right, well, thanks. So we'll mute you again. All right, perfect. All right, so sounds like this is better everywhere in Garner too. Very good. All right. Logging your activity. So, we mentioned, going on the Wellsuite portal, there's the activity tracker under My Health Tools on that left-hand side. If you click that, it's going to log your activities attended this month. So, and going on there and logging, I have done the group program and making sure that you do that. The deadline to log that you've watched session 1 is today. We want to make sure that you're keeping up with us so you're able to integrate what we talk about during the workshop. And then so we want to make sure you're logging your attendance for that too. And if you don't log it on Wellsuite portal, then we don't know that you came. I know you're signing your name there. It's a double check, but really going on, and it's going to start accumulating for those of you working up to the 500 points. So making sure you're doing that. All right, what are we going to talk about today? Review. We're going to check in for what we talked about last week. We're going to talk about what's in your food, your target heart rate zone, the food that's missing in American diet, and then what's the upcoming events, some exciting things coming up in April. The review of class number 1. So the healthy habits that we discussed is just beginning to notice how the food that you eat and drink, the things that you drink, makes you feel. So sometimes we're moving so quickly, you can even be distracted when we're eating. We forget about how does that food, is it supporting you, your energy, your mood throughout the day? You forget that the food that we eat creates our cells, and that's what we're using for fuel to keep us happy and to keep us healthy. Number 2 was to check in to see if you're distracted while you're eating. For some of you, about 50% of you were distracted while you're eating. For some of your meals, distracted meaning, are you, reading your email? Are you reading a book? Are you surfing the net? All those things. So just taking some time to notice that. And then to fine-tune your portion control. So, where are your portions in terms of what we talked about last week? So I wanted to open up the floor here too and see if anybody had an aha moment or a they noticed, they took some time to dive into this, and they noticed a difference when they were distracted versus non-distracted while eating, or with portion control. So if anybody at any of the offices, you guys can raise your hand. I'd love to hear from somebody if you want to speak up and share. The next slide is actually going to say, share your success, and even a weight loss thing. Anybody? And that's fine if not, but I wanted to really open up the floor. Okay. All right, so I know that, going through the consults with people, talking about portion control, sometimes, you're looking at the amounts that you're eating, especially for dinner for some of you that you're working on, the portions might be a little bit too large. And consequently, the food that you're eating, you're not eating enough during the day, and then you get too hungry at night, and then you overeat at night. So just checking in there. All right, so the reminder is do the work. So what we're talking about, not only coming to the classes is really important, it's just as important, doing some reading on your own about some, healthy behaviors. But if you're not actually doing what we're talking about, then you're not going to see the change in your health. So setting, the biweekly goals, that starter kit that I passed out has, lines, and today you have the handout today. We're going to talk about your goals too, and really setting, the smaller goals to meet that main goal. Creating steps to meet the goal. So really important to not only, okay, here's my goal, but how? How are you going to make that? When, where, why? All those things to make that goal part of your reality. Filling out the surveys. So again, I mentioned already before, those are so important to check in. Participate in the classes. So coming is also a good thing. You can also watch the recordings. We're also going to give you the handouts, and those are going to be posted on Wellsuite. And then being aware of destructive thoughts. So thoughts that are only going to hinder you being more successful. So we talked about these last week. Is some of this thing is, I know this already. I already know this. But a lot of the nutrition with my clients is you do already know it, but are you doing it? And is there a different twist on it? Or you can try a different way around it. And then that same, going same hand in hand, these destructive thoughts is, this isn't going to work for me. This might work for somebody else. But I really would like you to try it out and see, does it work for you or does it not? We'll be talking about a whole variety of topics throughout this course of this year, and some of them will work for you and some of them won't. But use your body as an experiment, because a lot of the things you're only going to feel better if you try doing them. So changing the thoughts, what can you learn from it? Knowing versus doing, and then how can this work for me? So switching that around, this isn't going to work for me, but how can it work for you? All right, and then this last touching base here is the monthly challenge. It's been great to talk to, I've been talking to a good amount of you each week now doing the wellness consult, and a lot of you are doing the glasses of water and seeing some changes, getting rid of maybe some colas or some pops, coffee. Those things are going to the wayside, and you're drinking more water. The back exercises, especially those of you who are telling me your back gives you trouble throughout the day, hopefully you're trying those out. And then not only trying them out, but then noticing how does that change make you feel? How does it feel when you make these changes? And then how many of you have calculated your recommended intake? So those of you who participated in the survey, about 50% of you did calculate your recommended intake for the day. It's interesting to see that number, and then even to see, how much am I really consuming? How many calories am I really taking in? And just a refresher, so some of you were confused with this. If you are trying to lose weight, you get that number, your number that's in your starter pack of that equation we talked about last week. And then you want to subtract 500 calories per day. So 500 calories per day, and then that 500 calories that you're subtracting from that number that you got, the thing is you're subtracting 500 calories a day for 7 days, and that's going to equal 3,500 calories for that whole week. And then 3,500 calories equals a pound. So when you're taking that equation and you're getting that number, that's kind of your magic number to maintain weight but we want you to subtract 500 calories from that. And that's going to lead to that 1 pound weight loss throughout the week. So what's in your food? So what are you eating? You know, sometimes we don't even think about that. You might find fruits and vegetables. There's no ingredient label on there. You know, so it is what it is. It grows from the ground, which is nice and healthy. But then there's also the packaged foods. So there's a bunch of things in those packaged foods that we're going to discuss today. So healthy habits. You know, number 1 for session 2 here is see how many calories are in the foods that you're eating. So when looking up the ingredients, the first thing, how many calories, step 1, is what's in your food. So the foods that you're getting at the restaurant, your favorite meal, the snack foods that you're eating, and then the things that you're drinking. So looking, this little logo here is of MyFitnessPal. So there's a couple different websites that you can use that's on the handout today. MyFitnessPal being one of those, and then also loseit.com is another app that you can use for your phone or do it if you're at your computer. And that's going to help you look up, you know, what's in these meals or at the restaurant, what am I consuming? So liquid calories and sugar. This is the topic I wanted to reach today is talking about, you know, how many calories that you're getting from drinking. So some facts about this. The average American, so male, is getting about 172 calories per day of sugary drinks, and the females are getting about 103. So females are getting less calories from sugary drinks per day, but still, you know, getting some per day. Half of the U.S. population is drinking something sugary every day. So every day getting something. You know, it's in the news. You know, New York City just banned, you know, the amount of sugary drinks that you can drink per day. You know, it's an important thing. You know, we're facing an obesity epidemic. It's an easy way to start losing weight or even start watching the change and shift in your energy. So if you're drinking, you know, 1 regular Coke a day, or you're drinking a Frappuccino or something that has, you know, a high calorie content for liquid, if you cut that out over the course of the week, you're really going to see a change in your waistline because you're decreasing all those calories that a lot of the time are non-nutrient dense calories. So just something to be aware of. You know, look at your diet and see if you're doing that. Here's a graph here, too. You know, this is from the years of 2005 to 2008, and this is from the Centers for Disease Control. You know, the amount of calories that people are getting per day of sugary drinks. So it's the highest between 12-year-olds and 19-year-olds. Male here is the blue, and then female is the green. And then from 20 to 39-year-olds, it goes down a little bit. But just, you know, assessing your intake and how are you here in that average. You know, so even this average is higher than the average they took between the ages of 13 to 50. So if you're in that category that you're getting a male between 20 and 39, if you're getting 250 or so calories of liquid sugar, you know, that can really add up, especially over the course of the month. It can add to a couple pounds weight gain over the course of the year. So just talking about this, so a little bit of, you know, guessing game here, and I picked Starbucks because it's a place that a lot of people frequently go to. It's available if you're on a road trip, if you're on the go. It's a quick pick-me-up, but they also have some healthy options there. So a caramel macchiato. So I want you guys to just think in your head, how many calories do you think that this has? And you can even throw it out there, share with the group. All right, so as you make your guesses there, here they are. So this caramel macchiato, this is their medium size. I believe it's a grande, is what they call it. 380 calories. It has 14 grams of fat, has some saturated fat in there, 60 grams of carbohydrates. But of those 60 grams of carbohydrates, 58 of them are sugar. Sugar is just in that drink. Protein, it has a little bit of protein there. But it's a little concerning when you're getting that big dose of sugar. So that's going to give you a big spike in your energy, but then you're going to get, in an hour or so, you're going to get a plummet of your energy. So a healthy alternative. Plain coffee. It's cheaper from there for sure. It only has 5 calories in it. You can add your own cream, and you're even your own sweetener in there. 2 tablespoons of cream is 40 calories. Plus, you're going to save yourself some money. You know, if you brew it at home, you're going to even save yourself some more money. can even use, not even using half and half or your cream, you can use, put some milk in there too. This is the hippie alternative. Now I was showing, going over these slides, and I skipped just that regular coffee and put green tea, but I was feedback that I got it was too big of a jump. But this is what I drink, is green tea. I put a packet of honey in there when I get it from Starbucks, and I even get some a little steamed soy topper with it, and it's so you get a little creaminess. But it's green tea is filled with antioxidants. The honey gives it a little sweetness to it, and then that's great in itself. And if you add that little bit of steamed soy milk or steamed milk on top, you get a little creaminess too. 45 calories and only 11 grams of sugar versus that 58 in the macchiato. So liquid calories can add up. If you're not drinking sugary drinks, some of you that I've been talking to are drinking, a glass of wine per night. And, one glass of wine per night not necessarily going to hurt your health in terms of, one glass of wine, the studies are showing it's actually good for heart health. However, it's not so great for your waistline, or it's not so great if you're trying to lose weight and cut calories out somewhere. So 120 calories for 4 ounces of wine. If you're drinking a glass of wine, just one glass of wine, or one beer, 7 days a week, your grand total is 840 calories. So that's 1/4 a pound a week in calories alone that are liquid-based. It's not going to fill you up, and it's not necessarily supporting energy either. It's not giving you any great nutrients. So healthy habits, assessing your intake of caloric and sugary drinks. If it's too high, decrease if needed. And then again, assess, how am I feeling? Am I addicted to the sugary drink? Does it give me my, middle of the day pick-me-up? And if it does, see if you can substitute that with, a green tea, or going outside and getting some fresh air just for, 5 minutes in the middle of the day too. Standing up out of your seat, giving yourself a little stretch, just noticing, what's your habit. Small changes. So do your research and make changes to maybe the less favorable option into a more favorable option. We're going to go over some slides there with that. Because these small changes will produce big results. So I definitely, I find the need for people to get with the starter kit. I gave you some menu ideas and some recipes in there. So you can follow a checklist of eating. But what I found is, some dietitians just give you the eat this, not that only, but it doesn't work with each one of your styles. So it's easy to kind of put that aside and then continue how you're continuing. So I really want you to just start making these small shifts. And then knowing what's in your food, is really important. So this is, again, from Starbucks, but it's a blueberry scone. So blueberry scone from Starbucks, picking it up, it has some blueberries in there. How many calories do you think is in this scone? So go ahead and throw that out there. You guys can talk about it for a moment. And so the total is 460 calories. So 460 calories has a pretty good amount of fat. It also has some trans fat in there. So the trans fat's the unhealthy fat, which is going to decrease your good cholesterol and increase your bad cholesterol. 61 grams of carbohydrates, 17 of those are sugar, and then there's a little bit of protein in there. 7 grams, so not a little bit. It's a good amount of protein. Healthier option, blueberry oatmeal. So the calories on blueberry oatmeal, what do you think it would be? All right, so if you're getting this blueberry oatmeal, and they really soup this one up in the picture there, 170 calories. So this 170 calories is if you bought the oatmeal and you got the fresh blueberries to go on top. So if you're adding, the additional nuts and cranberries, 170 calories is a pretty light breakfast. You could add those. Like I would even recommend getting the blueberries and the nuts. You got a nice healthy fat source on there too. The carbohydrates are cut in half there at 3.2. Got 5 grams of fiber, which is really great, and some protein. If you want to save your money, they charge a good amount for this blueberry oatmeal. Make it at home or make it at the office there. All right, sausage and cheese sandwich they do have at Starbucks. Calories, so go ahead and guess the calories there on that. All right, and so the calories are 500 calories, at 28 grams of fat on that guy. 9 grams are saturated there. Not very much fiber, only 1 gram. Good amount of protein, but something that might, if you eat this, it might sit in your gut throughout your morning. A healthier alternative, and I put this in here because this is my favorite thing to get at Starbucks. I used to eat it all the time, is this spinach feta wrap. It's really good. It's pretty filling. For those of you who need a little bit more for breakfast, add a yogurt to it or add a piece of fruit with it. 290 calories only for that. 10 grams of fat, 33 grams of carbohydrates, and 6 grams of fiber. So that fiber is going to help fill you up. It's also really great to pull extra cholesterol out of your body. And it gives you 19 grams of protein, which is a big amount of protein that's going to help stabilize your blood sugars and help keep you fuller for longer. All right, so this healthy habit. So looking up the nutrition information in the common foods that you eat, so especially the restaurant foods. See what's in there and see, a lot of the restaurants are catering a more healthy fare. So you could find some healthy things at your restaurant, even if it's a fast food restaurant. But the biggest thing is be aware of it and look it up. Even just look it up 1 or 2 times to notice. I know I definitely stopped eating dessert out at restaurants because the dessert is 3 times what I would have for dinner, and then after dinner that I'm eating this dessert, that has 800 plus calories of sugar in it. So switching, just making those small shifts to a healthier option. We're going to dive into this concept a little bit more, but we've been talking a lot about calories, and I want you to be aware of your calories. That's why we're spending 2 sessions on it. But there's things that are in, not only the calories that are in your food, we're looking at the fiber and the protein, but then look at the ingredient label and see if you can start looking at the product ingredients and see, you want to really avoid products that contain, if sugar is one of the top 5 ingredients, if it contains high fructose corn syrup, if it has hydrogenated oil in there, if you see the words enriched flour, or anything you can't read. So just start turning over the packages and start reading. If it's a paragraph of ingredients, usually there's a healthier alternative. If the product can sit on the shelf for really years, it might not be the best, vibrant source of energy that you could be eating. Portions and distractions. So just looking, touching base on that again, is become more aware of your eating behaviors. And you really start assessing, try to avoid eating while standing, eating out of the bag, eating when you're anxious, eating when you're angry, eating when you're distracted. So when you're eating, especially those last 3 things, when you're anxious, you're angry, or the last really 2, that can compromise your digestion. Really all of these things can. If you have a tendency to be, your digestion, you're a little constipated, anxiety and being angry can lead to, if you're eating when you're doing that, it will stay, your food might stay in you a little bit longer than you'd like. Just starting to be aware of how often that you do these things. All right, so shifting gears here is exercise. So not only what are you fueling your body, using that fuel to do what? So getting out of your seat. So it's really important for me this year to help you guys get out of your seats and get moving this year. All right, so maximum heart rate. We talked about this last year, and I've been breaching this topic with a couple of you during your wellness consult. Another equation here is 220 minus your age. So if you take this number, 220 minus your age is going to give you your maximum heart rate. So that number is not necessarily where I want you to be when you're working out. We want to get you to about a moderate exercise pace, which is about 65% of that number. So 220 minus your age, your maximum number, and then to find your moderate exercise, range, you take 65% of the maximum heart rate. Now you can test, some of you, if you have a heart rate monitor, that's great. This picture here will show you, if you take your first 2 fingers and put it on the artery right there on the inside of your wrist, you'll be able to feel your heart beating. And you can go ahead and try to do that now. See if you can feel that little pulse. What I like to do is, you can feel that, and if you're out working out, you can kind of even take a 10-second pulse. You can get that moderate, that moderate number for you and divide that by 6, and that will give you your 10-second pulse. And then you'll know, okay, I'm in range or not. What's recommended from the Center of Disease Control is 150 minutes of moderate cardiovascular activity and 2 days of strength training, so in order to be healthy. So the target heart rate, the target amount of cardio is 150 minutes. What does that mean in terms of how many days per week are you working out? If you're just doing 3 days a week, it's 50 minutes. If you're doing 4 days, it's 38 minutes. And if you're doing 5 days a week, you'll get 30 minutes. So that's just, we're trying to get you into that moderate heart rate zone. Your heart rate zone, reaching, during your warm-up, you're reaching, it might take you 5 to 10 minutes to get to that maximum heart rate if you figure out the numbers between 50 to 55%. That's kind of your warm-up range. You want to get there. The meat and potatoes of your exercise there, you want to try to maintain this for anywhere between 20 to 60 minutes. And that target heart rate zone is going to be the 55% to 85% of your maximum heart rate. So this number is your heart rate zone, so figuring out the numbers for that. And then cooling down, so making sure you're not just going on a really, getting yourself up to 85% of your max heart rate and then just going on with your day. You really want to give yourself a cool down period. So allowing your heart rate to decrease below your 50%. As you're working out, you might find, it takes you 10 minutes to get into that target heart rate zone, and you haven't been working out at all. You'll find as you continue to do this that you'll be able to reach that target heart rate a lot quicker. And that's just a stat that's showing you, I'm getting healthier. Same thing with the cool down. If you're able to drop back down into your, resting metabolic rate within a couple minutes, that means your heart's pretty healthy. All right, some tips about getting exercise, finding an activity that you like doing. So I mentioned running, but that's just, it's something that I do. I find it cheap, and it's a difficult activity for me to do, but, my knees like it. A lot of people, your knees don't like it, so I'm not telling you to do that. I don't care what activity you're doing to get your heart rate up. I just would want you to do something. So I've had people do ballroom dancing, karate, tai chi, walking, anything, swimming, you pick it. If it gets your heart rate up, it could be functional activity like doing yard work. So just find something that you like doing and do it. So schedule it into your calendar. Sometimes if it's not scheduled in, that doesn't make it real. It doesn't happen. And you might find that if you don't schedule it in, it doesn't happen for you either. So make sure that you're scheduling in. You're making it a priority. It's really, really important there. And then finding a workout buddy. So really finding a workout buddy there to hold you accountable. And then joining a group. So making sure that you're joining a group, finding an exercise class that you need to show up. So after work, there's an exercise class at 6 o'clock, so you'll get there. So really important to make this happen, make it a reality. All right. So healthy habit. Another healthy habit for today is aim for 150 minutes of moderate exercise per week. So aiming there, if you're doing 0, maybe just boosting it up to I want to do 60 minutes per week. So find it and make this goal unique to you. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to start this next little part about what's the most #1 food missing in the modern diet, and we're going to continue this at our next meeting. And we actually have a big jump between our next meeting and today because there is a workshop in between. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about this just briefly, and I want you to start integrating this #1 food that's missing in the moderate diet, and then we're going to talk about it at our next session. So I just wanted to see, who knows what is the #1 food that's missing in the modern diet? Anybody wants to comment, type it in, let me know. Anybody? Okay. Nobody? All right. The #1 food that's missing is greens. So we talked about this last year. I'm a huge green freak. I love, you know, everything green. The more and more greens that I eat, the better I feel. And it's a perfect time of year to eat a lot of greens because it's springtime. So springtime, you know, greens are in season. They also help you rid out any of the extra kind of heaviness from the winter. So they're a great way to start incorporating them into your daily routine. I wanted to come back to the screen here, and I'm going to show you some greens. So what I'm eating for lunch today. So one of the greens that I'm really into, I've been getting from the grocery store, is called Swiss chard. So here is Swiss chard. This is what it looks like. It looks like a leafy green. They're pretty big. You know, one thing of greens is this big. They're really great if you're looking for an alternative to bread. If you're wanting to, you know, lose weight or you want to try to incorporate this in, you can wrap. You can make a wrap with this, and this is actually my plan today to do. You take this and you fill it with stuff. What I'm going to use today is I have this quinoa and black beans that I got at the farmer's market. So I bought a container of this that's going to be able to use throughout the week. I'm going to just put this on my green here and wrap it up. I might even throw some avocado on there, and I'm going to probably eat an apple or something with that because it might just not be enough. But that would be something that you can take with you for lunch. You know, I also use the greens. I just throw them in a smoothie as well. So I did want to give you a smoothie recipe to try. So let's hop to that slide because I want to be pretty timely here so you guys can go back to work. But this recipe I'm going to give you in your handout. So this recipe, we gave you, you know, my green smoothie for the first one last year. This is a different recipe. You know, it's a great way to fit greens in for breakfast. The 1 cup of berries. So frozen berries you can use anytime you like. If you have a Trader Joe's nearby you, they have these cherry that has these sweet cherries in there that's so delicious. If you put a half of an avocado really makes your smoothie nice and creamy. A half to a cup of soy milk or regular milk is great too. A little bit of cinnamon there that's going to help regulate your blood sugars. And then a half a cup of kale or spinach. So half a cup of kale or spinach in there, and you can start increasing that amount of greens if you like. But starting there, spinach is generally the easiest. It kind of disappears in the smoothie. So you can try that out and see what you think. And let me know. Let me know how it tastes. Okay. All right. So coming back here, I wanted to open the floor, and if anybody has any questions, go ahead and start typing those questions. So anything about, you know, the calories that are in your sugary drink, anything that is wondering about your caloric intake or wondering about your heart rate. So if you have any questions, go ahead and type that in today and let me know. I'm happy to answer those. Okay. With your handout, as you're asking those questions and getting those typed in, if you look at the handout there, you'll see the healthy habits for the first class and then also the second class. We only got about halfway done with those healthy habits, but I want you to look at the 4 that are listed for the healthy habits second group. And I want you to start, you know, figuring out which one of those 4 that you want to make your goal for the next couple weeks. So 2 weeks, I'm going to check in with you, and then again, we'll meet on April 9th is our next session. Okay, so I want to see if anybody has any questions today. If anybody's typing questions in here. All right. Okay. Okay, so what was the big leafy green? The big leafy green that I showed you is called Swiss chard. It's called Swiss chard. You can get it at the farmer's market if one's serious, so it's in season. There's also rainbow chard, which is really beautiful. It has different colors there. So it's called Swiss chard. All right. We're going to talk about the yoga workshop just in a second. So what was the maximum heart rate? Maximum heart rate is 220 minus your age. The 220 minus your age is your maximum heart rate. And then you want to take those percentages. So finding what 55% of your maximum heart rate and then finding out, what's 75, what's 85. Okay. All right. All right. So we did have another question from Thomas there, wondering, what do you do with all the gas that you get from greens? So eating greens. So greens are going to give you extra fiber. So when you're eating extra fiber from beans, if you're doing whole grain products, the thing is, if you're not eating a lot of fiber right now, you can slowly build that up and make sure you're drinking water. And if you slowly build it up, it should help with that extra gas that you might have. Hopefully your coworkers will also be in your same boat. Clear on that. All right. So just to give you guys a heads up on what's up and coming. So what's coming up with the next month here. Really important too. On Monday you got a list of all these activities, but the Wellness Employee of the Month for March. If you can please nominate somebody for me to announce for next Friday. So the link was given, so just check your inboxes. There's a link, and there's also a link at the top on your Wellsuite portal. There's a link that says nominate the WEM to the Wellness Employee of the Month. So go up there and go ahead and click. All you need to do is enter that person's name and the reason that you think that they deserve the honor, and we'll be announcing that next Friday. Another great thing is the office yoga workshop. So I will be live in Columbus for our round 2 of the office yoga. There is a registration link that was included on the email that I sent on Monday. It's also on the Wellsuite portal. You do need to register for that. That is April 3rd. It's a Wednesday. In addition to that office yoga, there is National Walking Day that day. So we will be, each office location will meet, in the lobby at 4 o'clock, and we'll be doing a half-an-hour walk together. So I'll be there in Columbus. It's really exciting to get out. I'm crossing my fingers that the weather is nice so we can get out there and enjoy the weather and just get moving and out of the chairs that same day. So that's all on April 3rd. For the walking event, there is no registration. So you can just show up in the lobby. Hopefully we'll get a great turnout. I'm excited about it. So you need to register for office yoga, but not the National Walking Day. And then the last reminder here is the enrollment. The enrollment process is ended. April 12th is your last day to have scheduled your consult with me. So the 4th step, the waiver form, the biometric screening, your personal wellness profile, and then your final step is due by April 12th. So I know I've gotten a big amount of emails in terms of scheduling. I'm doing my best to get back to you guys as soon as possible with those, get you guys scheduled in. We have a huge turnout already. I think I've seen a little over 75 of you already. So keep it up. All right. So I will let you guys go ahead and get back to work. And again, thank you as always for participating. Go back to your computer and log that you completed watching today's group. All right. Thanks so much, everybody. Bye-bye.